Well, good day, everyone, as they'd say in Australia. Thanks for joining us today. I am joined by Gina Canseco, and we are going to talk about the 2025 MOAA Signature Group to Australia and New Zealand, South Pacific Wonders. Before we get started, a couple of things, a little housekeeping, if you will. We are recording this presentation, so feel free if we're going through this presentation, if Gina or myself says anything that you find of interest, you can look at your phone or watch or wall clock or whatever it is and just make a note of time. And then if you want to revisit it, instead of rewatching the entire hour-long webinar, you can just fast forward to that spot wherever it may be. Before we get started, and I know we're all here to learn a little bit more about Collette, who will be, I guess, handling this tour. Or who we'll be touring with, and then more specifically kind of go through the itinerary for Australia and New Zealand. I always wanted to talk a little bit about MOAA Vacations. We always have a few people who join us who this may be their first webinar. So this slide here, or actually the next slide, kind of goes over real quick kind of what makes MOAA Vacations unique. Gina, if you could just click forward one, that would be great. The number one thing we always talk about when we talk about MOAA Vacations is our superior service. And I know a lot of you heard me say this before, but I think it's important to note we are the only travel agencies. We are, and we continue to be the only travel agency that does travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. And that's as simple as it sounds. If you have an issue, a problem, a concern, prior to or during your tour, your cruise, river cruise, whatever vacation it is you take, we will resolve that matter to your satisfaction. Any of these kind of issues that you have that if your cruise consultant cannot handle, about 90% of those actually come direct to me and I handle them personally, sometimes to help out, or if it's an area of his expertise, you also might talk to Mike Tyrell, our vice president. In addition to that service guarantee, satisfaction guarantee, if you will, we do have the guaranteed lowest prices. And actually, we go a little bit further than that. We actually have a MOAA exclusive amenity program. Collette does participate in this. And that means on any Collette vacation you select, any tour, any river cruise, any departure date that they have, there is an additional discount for MOAA members. That is $50 on most departures. There are some departures that are the bit longer departures where that's actually $100 per person. So with most vendors, we actually have a price that's lower than the lowest price. And then, of course, what we're going to talk about today is group opportunities. And we do a whole slew of different kind of groups. We can do a friends group. We have multi-generational groups. We do chapter groups, state council groups. So we have a lot of group opportunities. And a lot of times we just set up groups for MOAA members. You may have seen these in MOAA Retired Officer Magazine, MOAA Magazine in the past, where we have groups where you can sign up and join your fellow MOAA members across the country. But today we're talking about a signature group. And I always kind of describe signature groups as a standard group on steroids. And the reason I say that is it's like all the other groups that we do, but there are added benefits, added amenities to joining a signature group. And the first one we always talk about is they are hosted by MOAA leadership and MOAA staff. They are there to ensure that you have a stress-free vacation. They are inclusive, or at least as all-inclusive as we can make them. So there are a lot more add-ons that you would normally get if you booked a tour or a cruise or a river cruise. And then one of the things, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this later on, but we always like to have exclusive events, excursions, whatever, to make our trips unique. We are in tune with MOAA membership, and we look for things that we can add that we know that you and your fellow members would enjoy. Real quick on this, and as I said, Gina's going to talk about this more. We did add an additional day to the start of this tour. It is a long ways over to Christchurch. And instead of people getting there and then the first day they get there, the events already begin, we just added a day pre. So that would mean that when you get there, you actually have an entire day at your leisure before the tour actually begins to rest and recover. Now, Collette tour guides will be there. So when you get there, if you're up for doing something or you want to get out, they are there to answer any questions you have, make any recommendations of where you might want to go and what you might want to see that isn't included in the tour. One of the things we talk about that we always want to emphasize is that your friends and families are invited on any trip you take through MOAA Vacations, but on the signature groups as well. So even though these are exclusive events, we have 2 buses that we are holding for Australia, New Zealand, just like we did last year for Iceland. So everyone on that bus will either be a MOAA member or the guest of a MOAA member. So everything we do is for you and anyone you take along with you. If you bring friends and family along, they receive the same satisfaction guarantee. They seem the same lowest price guarantee, the same MOAA exclusive amenities. So on any trip you go on that you book through us, you can bring your friends and family along and they receive all of the benefits as well. And to kind of jump back to what I said at the very beginning about sending you a copy, a link to the recording of this webinar, feel free to share the webinar with any friends and family you know who might be interested in joining us as well. And then the last kind of thing we always like to mention is they are rare opportunities. We used to only do 2 a year. We actually have started doing 3 a year as we've seen more and more demand. So in 2025, there will only be 3 signature groups. So they are a rare opportunity. And I mentioned we have 2 buses for this. One of the buses is already halfway full. So we assume that on these tours where they're much smaller than the cruises or the river cruises, we really recommend booking as soon as you can to make sure that you get your space reserved. So that's kind of the housekeeping, a quick overview of MOAA Vacations and signature groups. I'm now going to turn it over to Gina. As I said, Gina is going to talk to us about Collette Vacations to let you know a little bit more about your host for this tour. I will say that I mentioned we did Iceland in September of last year. The tour guides from Collette that are going to be on these buses are some of the best in the industry. We heard it from everyone who went on Iceland with Collette, what a phenomenal job they did. So without any further, sorry. And then I was going to say, so after Gina talks about Collette, she's going to go through the Australia, New Zealand tour in detail. And then we're going to end with a Q&A. If you have your cursor kind of at the bottom of your screen or you hover there on your tablet or whatever, you'll see a little balloon that says Q&A. That's where you can ask your questions. I'm actually going to turn my camera off and answer questions while Gina is talking. A lot of those questions, even if I answer them during the presentation, I will bring up again at the Q&A if I think it's something everyone would be interested in. And then at the conclusion, we will be here as long as it takes to answer all of your questions. We certainly hope you can join us. Without further ado, Gina, tell us more.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. And first, I want to give a big thank you to you, Jon, for your partnership and your loyalty with Collette. I know that we had a wonderful time in Iceland, and we're this has been highly anticipated, talking about this wonderful, wonderful tour. This is really a bucket list opportunity. First, I am going to tell you a little bit about who you're going to be traveling with if you have not traveled with Collette before. So we are the oldest tour operator in the United States, and we are family owned and an American run company. So we, with being around for so long, we've really perfected on how we do guided touring and really try to make every day new and different for you all, and really give you a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So for those of you who have not joined in on one of our webinars before, I am the MOAA rep for MOAA with Collette, and I am so excited to tell you about this today. So first, if you've not heard of Collette before, you may want to tune in to Wheel of Fortune. And if you've seen, this week is the perfect time because it is actually Wheel Week, where we are giving away a ton of trips. this week. So you can also see us on Hallmark as well. And with that said, Collette is one of North America's most recognized travel brands, which makes sense being around for 106 years. So what does guided touring look like with us? So when you travel with us, you can expect to have 4-star plus accommodations, but you're going to have a 5-star experience with us. So what does that entail? So first, we are going to take care of all of your baggage for you. Now, I think this is really, really big deal because when we take a look at the itinerary, you're going to see that, you know, we move around from New Zealand to Australia. And when you think about traveling and you're like, oh, I don't want to have to be lugging around that 50-pound bag, and we are going to take care of all of that for you. So before you show up at your next hotel, your bag is going to be in your room. And when you switch hotels, you're just going to set it right outside your door. So that really, really, I think, kind of makes a huge difference when you're traveling, because all you're going to have to worry about is moving yourself. And of course, we mentioned at the beginning, you're going to have a tour guide with you every step of the way. They will meet you at the airport, beginning, pick you up, get you to your hotels. They stay at your hotel with you. And I kind of like to look at them as your personal concierge because they really are there to help you with everything you need, suggestions, and really enhance that experience for you. As Jon said, that we are known as having some of the best tour guides in the industry. And the reason being for that is majority of them are employed by Collette. So we really pride ourselves on making sure that your experience is going to be absolutely wonderful and fully enhanced through your tour manager that's with you. Also, when we talk about meals on this trip, you can expect to have these home hosted experiences. You can expect to not be eating dinner at the hotel. We've really got some exciting meals that you're going to have on this tour, including one at the Sydney Opera House, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But we really want to give you that authentic culinary experience, as well as those enriching cultural experiences, getting to know the locals and getting to know the local culture of where you're traveling to. That's a very, very important part of travel and why a lot of us like to travel. So we really want to make that experience enhanced for you, as well as giving you preferred access to the sites and attractions. And when you're on a tour with us, you're not going to have to be waiting in line. We are going to make sure you get the most out of your time here. So you won't have to wait in line at the Sydney Opera House, and we're really going to make it so that you guys are the VIPs here in the South Pacific. So we are going to also use unique modes of transportation, which you'll see throughout this. And most importantly, our tours are designed by travelers for travelers. So with that being said, our designers are on the ground in the locations that you're visiting, because who knows better about a location than somebody that's from there. That's somebody that's going to be able to give you the full experience and really give you the ins and outs, those hidden gems that you really couldn't find without somebody that's from there. And I think that's a really important part. And as I mentioned, we have over 100 years of passion and expertise. You'll be able to tell how passionate I am about talking about travel through talking about this tour just throughout this presentation. But that is everybody at Collette. We really pride ourselves on our expertise and have used those experiences to curate our tours to be very seamless and a wonderful experience for you. So I want to give a quick another shout out to Jon. We've got some wonderful exclusives for you. as you are going to be throughout this tour. So number one, transfers are from Christchurch Airport to your hotel at the beginning of your tour, from Sydney hotel to the airport, and at the conclusion of the tour are all going to be included for you. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail, difference between purchasing the land only versus the air inclusive. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit, but majority is going to be included for you. And also additional 1 day hotel stay in Christchurch. I think this is really, really important. I always recommend a pre-night. And I'm really glad that Jon made sure that this was a priority, because this, as he mentioned, very, very long flight. And we want to give you time to get in there, relax, be refreshed, and be ready to really get the full experience. So you can, make sure that you're not tired on the start of the tour. We do cross the international date line as we are traveling over there. So I think that the pre-night being included in this makes a huge, huge difference. And I think you are going to be very, very thankful that Jon did that once you once you get over there and have that extra day just to get settled in. So we are also going to include a welcome dinner on your second night in Christchurch, which is really going to give you the opportunity to meet everybody in your group, get excited together, talk about what is going to be upcoming. Your tour manager is going to be with you, so you can get to know them as well. And then at the end of our journey, you're going to be invited to a very special farewell dinner and performance at the world famous Sydney Opera House. This is really a once in a lifetime experience. I don't know many people that can come back and say, I had dinner in the Sydney Opera House. So that's going to be a really, really neat experience for you. So you can give your props over to Jon for making sure that we've got that included for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it and talk about this exciting tour, where we're going to see what it's like down under on this incredible journey along the coast of Australia and through New Zealand's South Island. So you're going to have a mix of tropical splendor of Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and then also the ethereal beauty of New Zealand's glacial fjords, and really just get the most out of the South Pacific. So this trip is going to be 16 days and include 25 meals for you. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera because I think that your full focus here should be on these beautiful pictures that are going to come to life for you when you experience this tour, so you can kind of get a little sneak peek and really dive in and see how beautiful this place is. So let's go ahead and take a quick tour at a glance here. So you're going to have your overnight flight, which is actually going to take you 2 days because we are crossing the international date line. And I love how nicely paced this tour is. So as you'll notice, we don't have one night stays on this. And I think that that makes a huge difference. So you can really get to know each destination. So day 3 through 5, we are going to be at the Distinction Christchurch Hotel, which is absolutely beautiful, right there in Christchurch. And then we're going to head over to the Millennium Hotel in Queenstown before we make our way on days 10 through 12 to the Bailey Hotel by Crystal Brook in Cairns. I know it may look like Cairns, but it's actually pronounced Cairns. So not to be confused with France, but it's actually pronounced Cairns. And then we go to the Novotel in at the Sydney Darling Square right there in Sydney. And then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about it. You'll see that orange dotted line. That is going to be your optional ending tour in Fiji. So this tour is going to be for the activity level. I want to make sure to set the correct expectation for you. So we measure activity level on a level of 1 to 4, 4 being most active. This is going to be a level 2. So this is going to be a really, really balanced approach to travel. So you can expect to be walking 2 to 3 miles over the course of a day and that not be a problem for you. And keep in mind that that's not 2 to 3 at a time. That's just throughout the day. So 2-hour leisurely walking tour covering up to 2 miles with included breaks. So you can expect some full days balanced with some free time so you can recharge and set out on your own adventure and kind of make the trip what you want it to be as well. So a quick no before you go. So here, when you go to the South Pacific, it is somewhere that you can experience all 4 seasons within 24 hours here. So we're gonna, New Zealand's going to be the coolest, gonna expect about upper 50s. Then when we're in Sydney, it's going to be the 70s. And then up in Cairns, you can expect it to be up to 80 degrees. So you're going to want to make sure that you bring clothes to layer. I always like to say layering because that, you know, when you're touring, jackets to take off, you don't want to, you know, always be wearing long sleeves, but be able to take off your jacket if you get a little bit too warm. And the dress on this tour is going to be casual. So slacks, khakis, comfortable tops are all appropriate. Beach wear when you're in Cairns. And you'll notice the locals do tend to wear a little bit nicer clothes to restaurants. So you may want to bring a couple of nice outfits to wear out to dinner. Maybe a dress for the ladies and just, you know, a nice jacket and pants for the men. So for the Sydney Opera House performance, we do recommend wearing a collared shirt and slacks for men, casual dress or pants and top at minimum, to sport coat and a nice dress. So that's what's going to be recommended. Now, something that is very, very crucial is going to be comfortable footwear. That is crucial. You want to make sure that you bring a pair of shoes that fit you well and really give you that necessary support so you are not having to worry about your feet hurting all day, because we are going to be doing some walking. So the currency, you can expect Australian dollar to equal about 149 in US dollars, New Zealand about 160. So your money can go a little bit further here, but you can also use ATMs over there. Very versatile, and of course, credit cards. Credit cards are best as that's, you know, the most utilized, and so I would recommend doing that. Maybe let your bank know before you leave as well. So as I mentioned, we do cross the international date line. So Sydney is 6 hours ahead Eastern time, and New Zealand is 18 hours ahead. So that pre-night really is going to make a difference. What you will need for this trip is you're going to need your US passport, and there will be an electronic visa that's going to be needed. And of course, I know that the MOAA vacation agents will take wonderful care and make sure that everything is taken care of in a timely manner when you speak with your travel professional there, to make sure that you get everything you need at the right time. So voltage and converters, the voltage is about 220 to 240. Now, if you went to Iceland with us, you know that all of this comes in documents for you prior to your departure, a few weeks prior to departure. This is going to have all of that information in there for you. Day-to-day itinerary, transfer details, weather for each city that you'll be visiting, what's going to be needed for voltage, where the best ATMs are, and all of that stuff. So rest assured that you will be made prepared before you leave. So your overnight flight begins your adventure to Australia and New Zealand with one stop to Christchurch. So we have that free night included to relax in Christchurch. So we are going to arrive in this historic city, which is the largest city in the South Island of New Zealand. So this city was devastated by an earthquake back in early 2011. I'm not sure if you remember that happening, but you're really going to get to see firsthand how this city, which is also known as the Garden City, has really, really put in the work to recreate itself. So you're just going to be getting to do a lot of exploring and really get to see all of the new and modern things they've done to make this place what it is today. And you'll see why it is one of people's most favorite places to visit. So after free time to relax from your flight and a little sightseeing, you can meet your fellow travelers during that welcome dinner we talked about. So we can make sure we start off this journey on the right foot. This welcome dinner and drinks will be for the first night, and the next day is going to be independent sightseeing, but your guide, rest assured, will be there to assist and direct. And then the following day, breakfast and dinner starts that following day. So after all of that, next day, you are going to start your morning with a city tour of Christchurch and really get to know the ins and outs and the beauty of this place, experiencing the city life and really getting to see why it is called the Garden City. So we're going to be exploring large number of the public parks and all of the beautiful residential gardens. Then we are going to pay a visit to Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. This reserve is a leader in conservation of New Zealand's species, and it's really going to offer the chance for you to see all of their big 5 animals. If you are an animal lover, this trip is going to be absolutely spectacular for you. We're going to get to see all of the different species here. They have so many different ones here, and you're going to have the opportunity to not only see some, but get up close and personal with some of them as well. They've got different categories of wildlife here, including exotic, heritage farmyard, and of course the native. Then, as I mentioned, we really like to dive into that local culture and really give you that firsthand experience of how the local cultures live. So we, in order to do this, we're going to visit and learn about the local indigenous culture of the Maori with a paddle on the Avon River in a traditional waka, which is also known as a canoe here, but there they call it a waka. So we are going to get to have that experience. And then we, next morning, we are going to head to what is most likely going to be your new favorite place in the world. We depart Christchurch, we're going to make our way south to Queenstown. Queenstown is just one of a kind. It is absolutely spectacular. Beauty everywhere you look. And we're going to arrive in the afternoon. So you're going to have some time to also explore independently before we have dinner that evening. So this city is built around an inlet called Queenstown Bay on Lake Wakatipu. And it just has spectacular views of the nearby mountains and the Southern Alps here. So you'll get to see why this town has earned the nickname of the adventure capital of the world, due to its rugged terrain and the adventurous Kiwi spirit. So if you didn't know this, in New Zealand, the locals call themselves Kiwis. So you'll get to know all about the adventurous Kiwi spirit here. Next day, we are going to have a barbecue lunch on the shores of the lovely Lake Wakatipu, and get to have some of that local barbecue. If, you know, being from America, I'm sure you've had all different kinds of barbecue. So now you're going to get to go down under and experience barbecue in a different culture. Then once more, we're going to meet the locals. So we're going to have a sheepdog demonstration before sailing back. So this is a really, really neat experience. You're going to get to see firsthand how they live every single day and how these dogs work. And they absolutely love their jobs. The dogs absolutely love it. They get so excited to herd the sheep, and they're just so cute. So you're going to want to make sure to bring your cameras and, take some little videos. It's a really neat thing to experience firsthand. So here you're going to see a ton of sheep. If you have a traffic jam, it is most likely going to be because the sheep are crossing the road. So you will not miss out on seeing sheep while you're here in Australia. Then we are going to make your way to Milford Sound. This is also going to be a huge highlight of your trip. Spectacular. Enjoying as we're driving. This can be one day that you really don't mind being on the bus, because you're going to enjoy that rugged grandeur of the Hollyford Valley, and traveling through the ancient beech forest via the Omer Tunnel. So this is one day that you do not want to fall asleep on the bus, because everywhere we turn is going to be absolutely beautiful with a new view for you. So as we arrive in Milford Sound, we're going to do a cruise of the breathtaking, beautiful fjord. And you'll see why it is one of the most visited sites there in the South Island. This inland runs about 500 feet from the Tasman Sea, and is surrounded by these beautiful rocks that face and rise over another 4,000 feet on the other side. So once again, your ride to Milford Sound is going to be beautiful, but once you get there, you can expect even more beauty. If you've never been to Scandinavia, this is going to be just one of those places that can be comparable with all of the beautiful fjords. So with rocks that face nearly those 4,000 feet on either side, the scenery will absolutely take your breath away with all of these beautiful waterfalls and the rocks. And, this is one day, if there is rain on your forecast, you can be excited about it. Not many places you can say that you can look forward to rain, but this is going to be one of them, because it's going to give you a better view and really just make everything sparkle and shine, and make those waterfalls just look absolutely beautiful. So for my photography lovers, absolutely bring your camera here. So next morning, after we have breakfast, we're going to give you a free morning in Queenstown. Really a free morning to catch your breath. Now, kind of as I mentioned, make your own adventure. But we also do have, if you don't mind forgoing a little bit of that free time, we do have an optional excursion for you. So you can opt into this excursion where we embark on a 4-wheel drive adventure through the mystical landscapes of New Zealand's high country. So you'll get to see all of the unspoiled wilderness and really just get lost in the grandeur of New Zealand's South Island. If you recognize this, this is location of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So we'll get to trek to the place where the otherworldly was tailor-made, see the remarkable mountains, and the entrance to Skipper Canyon. And really getting to go across the roads created by the pioneers back about 150 years ago, and follow the miners' old wagon trail along the Arrow River. And we are going to make a stop to try your hand and panning some gold. So you'll be able to discover something incredible around every dramatic turn that you take, all well on your four-wheelers. So having that be an adventure with itself on this twist of the thrilling safari tour. Now, if you'd like to opt into this option, this is going to be an additional $170. You can just let your travel professional over at MOAA know if that's something you'd like to opt into. Or as I mentioned, this is, as it's an option, you can just spend your time doing some shopping for some unique souvenirs, or, you know, when I travel, I always love to just sit and do some people watching. So now is going to be a great opportunity for you to just relax in the village and kind of make the most out of your day and make it what you want it to be, really getting to explore here. And then later that afternoon, it is going to be up to you how you'd like to spend your afternoon. So with Choice on Tour, this means no additional cost out of your pocket. We just like to give people the option to do one thing or the other, because we know everybody's different. Some may wake up energized that day, and some may wake up tired and, you know, want to do something a little bit more leisurely. Maybe go and see the Kiwi BirdLife park tour, where we'll get to go on a bird watching adventure right in the sanctuary, which is committed to reptile and bird life, especially the kiwis. So you'll get to look up and down and all around for all 20 species of the native New Zealand wildlife, all across the 5 acres in the heart of Queenstown. Or if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can ascend up to Bob's Peak on a gondola ride, where you're going to have spectacular, inspiring views of Queenstown. Really get an overview of this beautiful place. So we'll sail over to Coronet Peak to the north, then we'll head over to the Remarkables Mountains Range to the east, and then getting to see above the blue Lake Wakatipu. So this evening, we are going to unfortunately say goodbye to New Zealand, but with that, we are going to have a farewell dinner here this evening, where you are going to enjoy, we'll have some drinks and some wonderful wine. New Zealand has amazing wine. Something that's not really talked about because it's so far away from us. We always think of Europe when we think of wine, and you know, Italy and France. New Zealand also has wonderful wine as well. So we'll get to experience that all throughout our time here. But on this farewell dinner, we're going to make it extra special for you. So now, just to kind of give you a glance of where we're at, we are on day 10 of the tour out of 16. So we are now going to do the second half of your adventure. We're going to take about a 5-hour flight which is also part of the inner air package already included. This is where you're going to want to have your flip-flops and bathing suits. As we fly over to Cannes, we're going to get more of that tropical getaway and see one of the world's most spectacular natural attractions. And of course, what everybody is wanting to see here in Australia is the Great Barrier Reef. So this regional city is in the far north of Queensland, Australia. And while you're here, you're just going to get to see the beautiful blue waters, surrounding ocean, but also being surrounded by a rainforest. So just beauty and nature everywhere you look. Next day, we're gonna once again get to know the history and get to know those locals here, get to know the history of Australia's original Indigenous people at the Rainforest Station Nature Park, where your guide is going to show you through some of their oldest customs and traditions and really get a glimpse of their daily life and learn all about their culture here. Then we're going to visit the Hartley's crocodile adventures and really get to see some crocodiles on a nature cruise here. So this is going to be one of those experiences. Once again, you want to bring your cameras here. And then after we wrap up on the cruise, we're going to head through the rainforest on boardwalk, actually, to see the animals, all the beautiful and unique birds, reptiles, and the wallabies. And my favorite, you'll get to visit with a little koala and chat with the wildlife naturalist to learn all about these furry little creatures. So get to, bring a picture home where you have with a koala, and they are just the cutest little animals. And once you get up close with them, they're even cuter. So this is going to be, like I said, if you love wildlife, this is really going to be a great tour for you and really going to be a full experience. Then after we visit, after we end our journey with the koalas, we're going to head back to a visit at Hartley's with dinner of some local favorite cuisine here. So then on the next day, after we have a delicious breakfast, we are going to hop aboard a high-speed catamaran, where we're going to have an exciting excursion to the Great Barrier Reef. So, as you know, this was established as a marine park back in 1975, and this reef is a haven for just thousands of species of sea life. So think turtles and birds and fish, and as the world's largest living organism, you are going to find over close to 3,000 individual coral reef systems, which are home to this amazingly diverse marine life. So just absolutely spectacular, this blue waters. And if this doesn't make you want to go to Australia, I'm not sure what will, because water's absolutely beautiful here. And the weather here, when you're here, like I said, higher 80s, so absolutely perfect. And we're going to give you different options here to explore the reef from your base here on Green Island. As there are many ways to explore the reef, that's all going to be at your fingertips. So whether you choose to stroll along the walking trails, maybe relax on one of the beaches, or just, watch the fish and sea turtles swim past from the pier, however you want to, whatever you do, it is really going to be a wonderful, wonderful experience with beauty surrounded you. So we do have an option for you to go on a glass bottom boat ride. which is going to take you out to the sea and allow you to almost feel as if you are swimming with these fish. You'll see all of the bright colors looking just remarkable against that turquoise waters. And with that glass bottom boat, you're really going to get to see it all. You'll have the opportunity to jump in the water, to snorkel, and really experience the reef in an immersive way. So really, really neat experience. Now, if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, we do have a option for you for a more adventurous encounter with the reef, which will go to the outer reef and giving you the opportunity to jump in, explore the vibrant and colorful world, and really get to see the massive reef system that, as I said, is the largest in the world. We'll cruise around the water by catamaran to the outer reef, and we'll see that diverse ecosystem where you'll get to discover it all on your own. So the underwater sea up close, you'll have the opportunity to snorkel along the reef and have that once in a lifetime experience, seeing and exploring one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Now, this option, I do just want to make sure to set the correct expectation on it. This option is recommended for strong swimmers and those that are comfortable in an ocean environment. And I also want to recommend that if you do get seasick or motion sick, maybe grab one of those motion patches, or, you know, some medicine, just so you have it, if that's something you've experienced before, just so you can really enjoy this experience, because we don't want you having to get sick while you're here. We want you to get the full experience. So next day, we're going to take a roughly 3-hour flight over to, now that we've kind of explored the ocean a little bit, we are going to head over to Sydney via flight. This is about a 3-hour flight, also included in the inner air package that's included. So that first, after we get over there, we're going to allow you to kind of create your own adventure or simply relax and just take in that tropical atmosphere. So, you know, after we get to that bustling city, it is, of course, located on Australia's east coast and surrounded by one of the world's largest natural harbors, and really get to do some exploring here. So, as I said, kind of your own adventure on your first day there. And then next day, we are going to see where the original English colonists first settled during a city tour of Sydney with one of those local guides for you, kind of give you all the ins and outs and really get to know the city and, of course, this beautiful architecture here of the Sydney Opera House. So some highlights to go over here of what you're going to see on this tour. So we're going to see King's Cross. We're going to head over to the Harbor Bridge. We'll also get to make a visit over to Chinatown, to the Circular Quay. And then we're going to go see the Botanic Gardens. And really get to kind of experience this unique place and really get to explore here and see all of the beauty it has to offer. So as we discover one of the world's most fascinating architectural sites, we'll take a guided tour of the Sydney Opera House, which of course is poised majestically right on the Sydney Harbor. So once again, photographers, this one's for you. You definitely want to make sure to have that, because this is going to be just a very, very cool experience for you. We'll get to go in and see the concert hall's grand organ right inside the Sydney Opera House, which is the largest mechanical version of the instrument in the world. And then we will get to see, we'll have dinner. That is going to be, this is also going to be a special MOAA exclusive, where we include dinner here at a local restaurant and then performance at the Opera House. Then we are going to have a little bit more of a unique experience, as you'll get to learn firsthand about opals during a special presentation here at the National Opal Collection. My birthday was October, so of course I'm a little biased to opals, as that's my birthstone. I love opals and I think they're absolutely beautiful. So hopefully you'll get to see some black opals, white opals, some bolder opals, which of course is Australia's national gemstone, and get to learn a little bit about the history behind it and the iridescent beauty that the gemstone has to offer. Then now we are on day 15, and after breakfast, we are going to embrace the exciting city of Sydney during a day of independent exploration. So anything that you haven't gotten to do yet that you want to do, now is the time. Utilize your tour manager as well. They can provide you countless suggestions, places to eat, things to see, things to do. You know, if you're feeling adventurous or want to relax or just fine dine, your tour manager has countless suggestions for you. So make sure to utilize them and get to know them, because they will be there for you every step of the way. Then this evening, we are going to say farewell to Australia, where you are going to be chatting with new friends and taking in the sights here during a delightful dinner on a cruise of the Sydney Harbor. This wonderful cruise is going to provide you with a delicious dinner where wine and beer is going to be served. And once again, amazing photo opportunities. You'll get to see the whole harbor around. This is going to be about a 2-hour dinner cruise. So just seeing the sunset over it is, and, you know, really getting to, you know, with all of your new friends that you've made on this trip, and really just toast to a wonderful time that you've had here. And so, as I mentioned, seeing the sunset here, so just marveling at those scenic vistas of the harbor, which of course is showcasing the magnificent skyline of the iconic Sydney Opera House and the Harbor Bridge. So now we have made our way to day 16, where your tour is going to come to a close. So unfortunately, company policy, we do have to bring you home. So with that, hopefully you will be coming home with wonderful, wonderful memories. And just like I said, this is a bucket list experience, something that you're not going to get anywhere else, and really get to fully experience both of these beautiful, beautiful places, from nature to wildlife, and these wonderful memories that you could get to come home with. So I just want to let you know too, we also want to give you a little option to personalize your adventure as well. So if you'd like to upgrade your airfare, we can make that happen for you. We've already kind of personalized your experience with some personal dining experiences. We've got those optional excursions, as I mentioned, and we've already made sure to include that pre-night for you, so you can get rested and refreshed before the start of your trip. Now, one thing I haven't quite mentioned yet is going to be that optional 4-day and 3-night Fiji post-tour extension. So this extension is going to be really kind of, it's going to break up your flight, right? So this is going to break up that longer flight. So, you know, when you head back over to the States, this is going to break up that flight. But while you're here, you can just kind of think of this as really be a beach bum, relaxing on the beach, just experiencing the beautiful hotel. Now, it's not an all-inclusive hotel, but you'll just If you're somebody that likes to just lay on the beach and lounge, this extension is going to be for you. And I do want to make sure to set the correct expectation on it. This is going to be completely independent to explore Fiji here. So this is not going to be hosted or guided. It's really intended to give you freedom and flexibility to explore the destination and relax, or, you know, return to your favorite. So our loyalty program, if you have traveled with us before, even if you did Iceland, we have done a revamp. If you've been a longtime traveler, Collette used to just be a dollar amount. Now we've kind of upgraded it because we want to thank you all for your loyalty, for those that travel with Collette. So basically the way we've made this work with the Passport Club is this is going to give you the potential to unlock new rewards and benefits each time you travel with us, really incentivizing those repeat bookings and customer loyalty. So basically the best way to look at it is the more you travel, the more benefits you're going to receive, and the bigger the trip, the bigger the reward. So you will automatically be enrolled in this program if you've traveled with us. So as soon as you book with us, you can keep those rewards in mind when you start planning your next trip. Now, if you did go to Iceland, well, first, if you have gone on a trip with us within the past 12 months of this trip, so if you're taking a trip with us this year, whether that be independently, not part of one of these groups, or going on the African safari that MOAA is offering, you'll have the opportunity to earn about 200 if you are single, or about around 160 for double. And then if you just went on the Iceland trip, and this South Pacific Wonders is going to be the next trip you take with us, because we're over 13 months, this is your single is going to be about $120 discount, and double will be about $97 discount. So that just kind of gets you an idea, but we make sure to have all of that on hand for you, like I said, automatically enrolled. Now, when you travel with us, this is something that is really great experience. I kind of like to look at it as a cherry on top, because we want to make it easy for you. So when you package our air, you're also going to receive a round trip door-to-door pickup service, as well as hotel transfers, leaving all of the driving to us. So this kind of just makes it easier. You know, I was on the road with my boss this week, and he was telling me he lives in Nashville, that he had to park at the airport, and it was about $30. So on a trip like this, that really, really adds up each day. That's money that you could be spending shopping and for excursions on tour. So I really like that we do this sedan service, pick you up, kind of start your journey right at home. So just the terms on this is going to be included within a 50-mile radius for more than 90 airport gateways. But it's also available between 51 and 75 miles just for a small fee. So just a reminder, dates of this trip are May 6th through the 21st of 2025. And in order to secure your spot here, we're looking at a deposit of about $1,000 for the double rate, and then about $1,500 for the single rate. Now, the land price is starting at $67.99 double, and airfare at $17.47, which I'm going to go over here on the next slide. But what that pricing is going to include, I think this is really important when you kind of look at it at this perspective. So what would be included in that pricing? You've got your round trip hometown transfers, your round trip airfare tax from multiple gateways, your airport hotel transfers, all of those itinerary inclusions, that tour manager that's with you every step of the way, all of your baggage handled. So you're really getting a lot out of this. All of your hotels. This is, you know, it's and all of those meals as well, and dinner at the Sydney Opera House. So this is a very, very inclusive price for you, and also making sure to include that MOAA member benefit of $50 off. So just a glance here for the airfare. When you book your airfare with us, you are going to save up to $450 per person as long as you sign up by the deposit date. And this is all going to be listed on the website as well. But we wanted to list multiple gateways for the sample fares of, you know, because as we know, you all are flying in from all over. So we wanted to list multiple gateways. Now, if one of yours is not listed here, no fret. We just call your travel professional there at MOAA, and we will make sure to get you quoted. Now, I do want to let you know that air has not been officially released by the airlines yet. So we do not have airline schedules yet, but these are going to be your sample connection points. Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Dallas, all of these, but this is going to, we'll make sure to get you that information as soon as we have it, but we wanted to make sure to guarantee you a price up front. So as I said, reserve your seats, and John mentioned at the beginning how we've already got half a bus full. So you want to hold your spot, please reach out, and or if you have any more questions, we're going to give you a moment here and just a second to open up and ask any questions that you may have. We accept all major credit cards. We do not have fees on our credit cards. So if you'd like to call in and get that added, we can make that happen for you. So space is limited, so please don't miss out. I am so excited about this tour for you all to go on it and hear back from MOAA on the wonderful time you're going to have, just like you did in Iceland. So I am going to thank you once again for attending, and I'd like to pass it over to John, and we'll open up for any questions that you may have.
Sounds great. One thing that had me giggling when you said company policy is we have to take you home. So unfortunately, you can't say in Australia as much as you may want to. We have a couple of questions people asked that I wanted to get to. There's a lot of questions on the airfare, and I like just to talk about that just for a second. We've had people ask about business class and what class of service, and somebody just asked about, is the airfare less from Hawaii than it is from LAX or SFO? Depending on, everything's going to depend on what gateway. So if you want to know what the rate is going to be from Honolulu, let us know, and we will need to contact Collette, and they will need to get us that price. The crazy thing with airfare is it doesn't always make sense. I know we sit there and say, you know, Hawaii is a lot closer than California, but that's not always the way it works. A lot of it's going to depend upon how many people are on those flights. So yeah, Walton, if you just want to drop us a quick, you see there we got the telephone number and the email address. If you just want to drop us a quick email and let us know what gateway you want a price quote from, we typically have those within 48 hours. People are asking about extending, you know, staying in Australia or business class or, you know, economy plus or whatever that may be. The rates listed are for economy. If there is a class of service you would like a quote for, once again, let us know. As far as actual schedules, those typically come out about 11 months prior to departure. So we are still, you know, what, 5-6 months away from even being able to look at what flight schedules are. So we really like to, we did this with Iceland and it was very popular. We like to give people an idea of what air is going to be. So we went to Collette. Collette will guarantee those prices. Obviously, if you want economy plus, it's going to be more expensive than economy. How much more is difficult to say without going to Colette's air department. But when we first did Iceland, and we basically said the tour is whatever it was, I can't remember what it was, 4,800, maybe 4,900. People wanted to know what air was. So at least you can look at it and say, if I can get to Los Angeles, the air is 1767, to give you an idea of what the air is going to cost. Somebody asked about how many people on each bus. The buses hold 44. I can tell you in Iceland, both buses had fewer people on it than that. But on that bus of 44, we actually only sell 40 seats. You will have MOAA leadership, our staff, on each bus, and you will have a escort from MOAA Vacations on each bus as well. So basically we have 80 seats for sale. I know I put that in one of the invitations that we only have room for 80 passengers. And basically what that means is we have 80 passengers, MOAA leadership and guest, MOAA Vacations, host is going to be in a room. And then you, so the maximum will be 44 people on the bus. Somebody asked a question about accessible travel. This comes up a lot of times when we talk about travel outside of the United States. Most countries are not as accessible as the United States are. I just wanted to confirm you with this, Gina. Someone in an electric wheelchair, would they be able to go on this tour? Because from my experience, the tour buses don't have facilities for electric wheelchairs.
That is correct. Yeah, the states are one of, here in the States, we have ADA requirements. It's different all over throughout the world, and we cannot guarantee anything like that because there's different rules in each country. So I would say that wheelchair is not going to be accessible for this trip.
And I don't want to just put this on Collette and their buses. It's everybody with buses, but it's not only that. Even if the bus was wheelchair accessible, a lot of, if not the majority of, the sightseeing that you do is also not accessible. Even with Iceland, because of the cobbled roads and those types of things, we warn people about walkers. Just not that you can't, but I escorted the one we did to Germany. I guess that was 2 years ago. And Germany is, if you've been there, a lot of cobbled roads and narrow streets and stuff like that. We did have people there who had a walker, but it's difficult to get around to a lot of the places that we went to. Even when we saw the Passion Play in over Ammergau, it's not like they have the facilities we have here in the United States. Okay, so I think I answered that. Okay, what airline will Collette use? We have no idea at this juncture what airline Collette will be using. It's obviously going to vary dependent on what gateway you're going from. If you have specific airlines that you want to go on or that you want to avoid, you can absolutely just buy the land only. That's why everything is priced separate, to give you complete flexibility to do what you want. So you can buy the land and then you can get your own flights. You can't get a quote on a flight right now. So once again, I think the Collette pricing factors into that. I mean, you can sit there and say, if Colette's offering airfare from LAX at $17.97, then that's kind of a baseline for what economy will work. So if there's a specific airline, you've got points, or you can get an upgrade, or there's an airline you went on and you hated it, the whole I will never go on XYZ airline again, and you want to make sure that airline's not selected, then you're probably better off just doing your flights on your own, to be honest. So, I mean, I don't know if Gina, you want to say any of that? I know on Iceland, we had people who when they got their air schedules, either wanted to change the schedules or go on a different airline. And while we certainly, both us and Collette, want to work with you as much as possible and get a schedule that you like, it's not a situation where they are going to give you a flat rate price for air and you get to pick the schedule and you get to pick the airline. That's kind of kind of not, nobody does that. Once again, I'm not just picking on Collette. If you book a cruise and you use Princess's airfare, Princess, gives you two options. You can deviate your flights and pay extra and pick your seats, or if you just do the least expensive air option they have, then they select your flights for you. I hope that answers your question on it.
I do want to add something to that, John.
Sure.
So I just want to cover this because questions may come up about it later. So for purchasing your air with us, what that's also going to include for you, and I can also tell you what's going to include if you do land only, if you have points or something and want to use that for your air, what your options are. So with air inclusive, meaning you purchase it with Collette, we are going to include your round trip and destination transfers free of charge for every guest who purchases this, including the extension to Fiji. These transfers will be available at specific times, which will be noted in your final documents that come prior to travel, along with the instructions on how to locate your transfer. In the event that this is something that you also want to think about, in the event that flights are delayed, the group transfers may be slightly altered to accommodate the air inclusive guests, because we want to give you an option for if you do purchase the land only. Okay. So with land only, I think what you're probably going to say, John, is what I'm about to say is if you do choose to do your own air, we want to give you that option to have that round trip group transfers on the ground for just an additional cost of $100.
That's incorrect. Gina, we're including transfers for everybody, whether or not they purchase air or not.
Oh, is okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I want to be clear on that because it's listed in Iceland. The transfers, we gained a lot of experience now that we've done 2 tours. Well, we're actually including transfers to everybody. But one thing I did want to say, what I was going to say on that was the fact that transfers are available on the days the tour begins and the tour ends. If you are going to come in early or you're going to stay late, group transfers will not be available. So if you understand that, if we've got busloads of people we're taking from the airport to the hotel. And then the other thing that we've been asked before on this is if at the end of the tour, you're going to stay in a hotel, the transfers are from the hotel to the airport. They don't go from the hotel to another hotel or a different destination. So the transfers that are included are from the airport to the hotel on the day the tour begins and from the hotel to the airport at the end of the tour on those 2 days. So anyway, all right, we've actually gone over. I think, oh, wait, 3 more. No, everything. I think we got them all done. All right. Once again, we've only got space for 40 couples. We already have over 20 people who've signed up. Not only did we have 137 people sign up for this, we had, I think at one point over 70 people on it. So if you want to go, get a hold of us right away. You have our number. You can call us with any questions. You can email us with any questions. And just one final reminder is tomorrow you will receive an email that will include a link to this webinar in case you want to share with any friends or family, or in case you want to review any part of it. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We love doing these. And I want to take just a second and thank Gina. She took a lot of time out of her schedule today to be with us today. So we certainly appreciate you, Gina, and all the valuable information you gave us. And I'm going to turn it over to you for the final word.
Yes, it's my pleasure. I'm so excited to tell you about this bucket list experience. And just want to say thank you to you, John, for your partnership. And I know that all of these added on MOAA exclusives are really also going to put a cherry on top to the trip. And that's a round of applause for you. So you can thank John for that and everything that you're going to experience on this tour. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing your names come in.
Love seeing you in Christchurch, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.